Hi everyone, I'm Phil Theodorou from Theodorou Academy of Jiu-Jitsu over in Center Beach, New York. So today we're talking about how to break a real wooden board. So I'm going to give you all the pros and cons and all the how-tos on actually how to do that. Okay, so the first thing you want to do is you want to start off with going to Home Depot or Lowe's and getting yourself some cinder blocks like this. All right, so just regular cinder blocks. You notice that these are flat on top here, and you want the enough for the board to break. You're just going to hang it just on the edge here, so maybe like a ½ an inch on each side of this board here will be enough. If you have it too close together, you don't have enough leverage. It's going to be hard to break it. So you want to have it at the furthest point. But of course, if it's too far, it ends up sliding off sometimes when you're setting up. All right. These boards here you can get from Home Depot as well. They're 1-inch pine boards, and they're usually about 10 inches wide. It depends on really how hard you want to make it. All right. And you can also stack it up with layering board, maybe big 2, 3, 4 boards, depending on how intense you really want it. And we'll talk a little bit about spacers as well. What are the advantages of that? And it's good to have spacers when you're first learning how to break a board. When you first learn how to break it, of course you want to start off with just one board. As that becomes real easy, then you want to go to 2 boards with spacers. And for spacers, I'm going to just use pencils. All right, so any regular pencils, you're going to put it at the edge here like this. All right, and you take your second board, you stack it right on top like this. All right, and then you have yourself break. It's definitely harder than breaking one board by having it like this with 2 boards, but it's not as hard, or actually I should say, yeah, not as hard as breaking it without any spacers. So this is a big difference. So I don't recommend that you go to 2 boards right away, but it's definitely doable within the first 2 or 3 weeks of actually starting to break boards. All right, so I'm going to put the spacers down for now, and I'm going to remove the board. So when you're breaking a board, the first thing you want to do is not have a board. All right, so you get the cinder block set up, and your footwork, we're going to break it with an elbow strike. So we call it a roundhouse elbow strike. And when you're striking, this is your ulnar bone. You want to hit with like the meaty part, like right over here. So here's my elbow tip. I don't want to hit with that because that's going to hurt. Right, it's bone on bone. And when I used to break large amounts of cement, I used to break 8-inch by 16-inch patio blocks with spacers, and my record was 7 of them all at once, and broke through it. But when you don't break through during practices, you end up having some bone chips at the edge, and I feel it right now actually. You have some bone chips on your elbow tip. So I don't really do that anymore. I'm not going to demonstrate it anymore too, because I'm kind of beaten up from all the years of doing that. So we're just sticking with board breaking now. It's a lot easier. All right, it doesn't do as much damage to your body, and it's more consistent. What was happening was you go to Home Depot or Lowe's, and you buy yourself a patio block, and you break it one day, it's fine, and it's got it takes, let's say, like 100 pounds per square inch to break. But then you go the next day for the same company, and you buy the same exact cement block or patio block, and it's so much harder to break one day, just because of the way that they're mixing their cement, for that lot. So it's actually a big difference, and students were getting hurt when they're breaking it like that because it was just very inconsistent. So the boards are very consistent. That's why I like to break boards. Just stack them up so it can actually be as hard as a cement block on the break. Okay, so the first thing you want to do is get a good stance. All right, you want to be maybe about a foot away from the cement block and another 1.5 feet away from the other side of the cinder blocks over here. And like I said, when you're hitting, you're going to squeeze your fist. All right, you want your muscles to be real big by making the fist really tight here. That's going to protect your ulnar bone, which is right here. All right, it's strong, but you want that muscle to squeeze tight on it, so don't have a relaxed hand at all. All right, because you don't want that elbow hitting at all. You want just that forearm here. Okay, it'll end up hitting sometimes a little bit. That's fine. As long as you're not hitting it at the tip, you'll be fine. Okay, and now do some walkthroughs. The walkthroughs is to follow through. It's important not to stop at the board like this. So you want to have it enough where you're actually able to strike and go through about that much. If you can't reach because you have like a bad back or you're too tight, bring your cement blocks higher. So you just take another one of these, buy 2 more, lay them down, and then put these pillars on top of it. It'll be a little bit easier to reach down there, okay, when you're breaking for it. Okay, so that's what I do first. I get my range and my motion and my follow through. So when I break, I get my stance all set here. All right, when I come back this way, I'm going to inhale a little bit. So I'm coming off my heels a little bit as well. So I'm going to inhale. My hand is still open. I'm going to squeeze my fist right about here. As I start dropping my weight, my elbow will just peak right here like this, coming over the top. I'm going to lower my body down as I'm squeezing my fist really tight, I'm gonna follow through like this. So it's here, get my stance set up. My hands are in front of me, feels comfortable. Inhale. I wanna breathe out like that as I'm striking. I'll do a couple of those. So I set up like this. One more time. All right, that'll be a break. Now, let me get it from this angle so you can see what I'm doing here. So imagine the bricks are set up the other way here. When I'm striking, you want to make sure that you're not going to twist this way. All right, you're going to hit with your tip that way, and it won't be anywhere near as strong as it should be. So when you strike, it's up. As I exhale, I squeeze my fist. Now I leave it here. My shoulder is pretty much right over my forearm where I'm breaking. Like, you don't want to have it like this. You want to have your arm here. My fist is tight. My wrist is not turned. It's not like this. It's this way. Bottom fist to the floor. That's going to make sure that you're hitting with the ulnar bone. My shoulder's right on top of my forearm, and I'm going to be pushing down like that. All right, so again, when I do it, don't squeeze and twist. You're off balancing yourself, you're not going to maximize your power. So when you strike, up this way, squeeze your fist, and drive straight down like that. You know, so this is staying parallel to the floor the whole time. So once I reach to about here, it stays there, and I use my weight to push through the board. All right, so from the side again, it's here. You know, so I'm stepping out a little bit as I'm breaking and striking. All right, and this is right underneath my center of gravity. So I'm striking, I'm pushing through like this. Okay, the range feels comfortable. So now I want to condition my arm a little bit. It's not meant to break wood or stone if you're not conditioning your arm. So a good way to condition your arm is to put this on top. This is high density foam. You could use a mat, you could use anything around the house, your mom's fine china. No, don't use that. All right, but anything that's gonna be hard, but you can hit up against, and it's gonna give you some kind of resistance, but not hurt your arm at all. All right, so I practice. I start off light. All right. Now, to make sure your arm is lined up, I'm going to turn this way just so you can see better. To make sure your arm is lined up correctly, I'm going to put all my body weight on top. That's going to make sure your form is going to be correct. So if my form was off and I go to push, it doesn't feel right. So when I go to push, it'll straighten me out so I know exactly where I'm supposed to be. All right. And if I was too much like this, it doesn't feel right. Too much shoulder over my wrist. I want to bring it out this way. And I push, 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 all my weight's on top of that. It feels comfortable. I go back to practicing. Okay, so I'll do that hard, almost as hard as I can for 2 minutes. That's it, call it a day. Don't try to break the board maybe on the first day. Then maybe wait a day or two, do it again. Condition your arm for another 2-3 minutes. Do that till it's comfortable, all right? So you're doing it on a regular basis. After about a week or so, you have the mechanics down, your muscles will be strong enough, you're gonna feel comfortable about breaking the board. All right, so then I'll remove this. All right, and I'll get my first board going. All right, so there's my wooden board. I put it right on top of here, and I'm ready for my first break. Make sure everything is lined up. Get your breathing set. Make sure your brick is perfectly square. All right, I set myself up here. I do that twice and I break on the third. All right, and now for the break. Make sure your elbow, by the way, make sure your sleeve is rolled up, not like this. Because if you break with a lot of high pressure, this, believe it or not, is gonna hurt you. It's gonna bruise your bone. So make sure you're completely out of the way, all right? And if you're worried about hitting something hard like this, put like a washcloth over it. Or even double up the washcloth. It won't feel as hard. And that's a good way to start off practicing breaking the board. Okay, so here. All right, awesome. Not a lot of effort at all. Now to try with the spacers, which I'll leave this here. So I put my board down. I'll grab my 2 pencils. All right, I'll grab my second board. I'll try it again. This time I'm not gonna make any contact because I don't want to offset the pencils. But I'll give myself a nice test run. You know, as I stop a couple inches before I touch contact. All right, here comes the break. Wow, a lot of shrapnel. Looks cooler than what it really was. All right, now I want to break 3 boards, right? Same thing. Put your board down, 2 pencils, board, 2 pencils, board on top. All right, that was very little more difficult to break than the first one, but not by much. All right, so then if you want to make it more difficult, you would put 2 boards. So I would do 3 stack with spacers. When that feels comfortable, then I'll go to 2 boards. Take my wooden board, put another one directly on top of it, and then you're going to attempt your break. All right, with the 2 board break, definitely recommend something cushiony. So imagine there was 3 boards here right on top of each other. Put yourself like a washcloth, or just to take a t-shirt, fold it up maybe once or twice, lay it right across here, so you got some cushion over there, so you don't have to worry about hurting yourself. It's all about preventing the injuries. All right, anybody can try to break a board, but usually they end up hitting themselves the wrong way. They'll hit like this. Again, make believe I'm having this turned. When they end up hitting the board, they hit like this, and they cause the damage to the wrist. All right, or they'll lead in with the elbow tip. That's not good either. So make sure it's the whole forearm coming down. And as you're striking, it's pushing down this way. All right, I believe I hit all the points here. Let me think if there's anything else. So don't forget, just to summarize again, take the board away. Go for your follow through and your range. You should be aiming for something about this far down. If you can't reach it, build up the cinder blocks up a little bit. When that's comfortable, get a high density board. You don't even have to put some top of cinder blocks. Just something that's that high, and just start welding away on that. Push, 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 get your form correct, then hit that. When that's really comfortable, then you can start with some boards. All right, and on your first board break, it's very exciting to break your first time. Just put a washcloth or a folded t-shirt on top so it feels comfortable. Then you're gonna build your way up. All right, to break a 8 by 16-inch patio block, it's the equivalent of breaking 3 of these boards without any spaces, so just right up against each other. So it's about that. It's a big difference. So definitely you want to put yourself a lot of conditioning on this kind of a board, and then put yourself like a good cushion with a couple of washcloths, or a t-shirt really folded up, and you can practice just hitting that over and over again. Don't try to break the cement block right off the bat. Just you want to hit it and just kind of condition it as if it was this. And just practice it, not breaking it. Just practice it, hitting it, and just conditioning your arm a little bit. All right, so every time you hit a target that's solid like this, you're conditioning your muscle and the bone especially, and making your bone more dense. My forearm is definitely different as far as bone density than the next guy who has never done this. All right, I could break through cement only because I've done it over the years. My muscles and my bones are conditioned for it. And the way they condition is every time you make contact like this, even like this light, you're making your forearms stronger and your bone density harder over time. But just like lifting weights, you can't expect to lift weights and be like, how come I can't bench press 300 pounds after a week? You just need time for your body to catch up to the load that you're giving it. It's the same thing with conditioning your bones. All right, if you want to condition, your shins, all right, to get it to hit where you're not going to hurt yourself, it's done over a period of time. So don't be in a hurry. I know everyone wants to break a board. It's exciting, it's fun, it's great to see. But take your time with it. Build up the muscles and the bone density the right way. And the right way is over a long period of time. So if I want to condition on this, I'll hit it this hard. All right, get something hard like this and hit this maybe 30 times a day, like this. Nothing too hard, shouldn't hurt at all. All right, and it's conditioning my forearm and my bone density pretty good. I'll wait, if it feels good tomorrow, not sore at all, I'll hit it again. If I get sore at all, don't hit it again. Wait 3-4 days, then try it all over again. All right, and to really condition your forearm, it might take 3-4 weeks at least to kind of condition your bone density where you'll feel really confident and comfortable breaking a board. All right, so that's pretty much it. Any questions, you can always try to find me on at Theodorou Academy, or actually check out our Facebook page. It's Theodorou Academy of Jiu-Jitsu and Total Body Shape in Center Reach, New York. All right, guys, good luck.